Afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you out there in live YouTube mode. So today we're talking about how to employ all this legato trickery that I'm doing. There's no guitar pick being used at all. I've got my fret wrap securely fastened here. A lot of people have been asking me about my legato technique, so here we are. How do we do it? So the last track you heard was the Europa, Carlos Santana backing track. I don't know who did the track, I just happen to have it in my collection. But we're gonna keep it simple. When it comes to legato, if you don't have a strong picking hand, I don't say legato is the answer, but I say legato is a solution when you're not feeling like picking every note. I find that picking every note can sound amazing, but if you have the wrong sound and you're picking in the wrong situation, it sounds like machine gun guitar playing, which is too shreddy. Too much pick noise. And the legato is a beautiful sound that's really analogous to the listener. So for those guitar players who like to play shred, and those guitar players who like to play fast fusion style, some jazz style, and even some metal style, it can be actually more beautiful to the ear. So that's why I choose to do legato. So we're going to start off with some simple warm-ups. Instead of worrying about playing every single version or every inversion of scale, we're going to choose 2 or 3 scales here around C minor. So C minor, here we go. And I choose to use this particular voicing in this particular scale. So we're starting on 8th fret, and we're doing all threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we move out of position to the 9th position to finish like this. Instead of doing this version, which is, what happens there is your fingers become, you can do the scale, they become bunched up a little bit. I prefer a nice wide open space to hammer on to get the most reaction out of your hammer on, like this. That nice wide interval that you're getting with this stretch is going to give you a little more energy, a little more kinetic energy and results, better results with that hammer on. So let's keep repeating that scale. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, stretch out, 1, 3, 4, another stretch, 1, 3, 4, rotate to the 9th position. You actually finish in the 10th position. So 8th position, 9th position, 10th, backwards. So instead of practicing evenly to a metronome like, we're going to actually start off like this. We're going to do a little bouncy, kind of like what a drummer would do if they're doing a quick attack, snare roll and stop. This gets those kinks out and that unevenness out when you're working on scales and you're out of sync with your drummer or your metronome. And then when you come back and play them evenly after doing that for a minute. So just do that for a minute. Then come back and do it with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my warm-up. Let's take a track again and run it. We're going to run the same track, and I'm going to run that scale, and I'm going to run major scale that goes with C minor. So here's Europa, the melody. And now I'm going to go in my improv. Same scale. All right, now instead of going up the scale like this, because you get lost after a while, unless you're practicing for an exam or you're actually asked to be playing all your versions of scales in what they do in university. We're going to take 2 or 3 scales that are pleasing to that song. So that's the C minor and the relative major. It's a major sound over that minor sound. So minor sound. Let's play the track again. Here's the major sound. But back to our scale sound, it sounds very plain. So this is what I call the neighboring major scale. Instead of starting on C, we're starting a whole step below that, which is B flat. And this is just a simple 1, 3, 4 extended stretch on the lower 3 strings. Why don't we do that an octave up? We're going to start on a B flat up here in the A string. Same fingering, same pattern, same stretch. Alright, so you have 3 places to go on the guitar without getting too crazy up and down scales. Because scales take hours to play, scales take years to master. You just want to start making some musical sense in a couple areas on your guitar. And just like we talk, we don't talk like this in monotone. Hi, how are you doing today? And we jump around and hey, what's up? And happy, sad, and loud and crazy. So that's giving you a few scales to practice and do your warm up at the same time. So, and change up the sound. And all you're doing is doing a simple relative minor and major. And so you don't have to know about theory for all this. It's just a sound. Theory is C minor, major. You're starting on one different note. All right, let's get back to what the video is about, which is warming up. How do you warm up and keep this kind of stamina where you're not picking and you're just legato all day long? Good question. This is what I do every day. I take a track, so it's not so boring, song that I like. Let's do, let me see if I can find something in a different key. I'll go to a C minor jam track. It's still the same key, but it's got a different groove. Alright, so what I did is back the pattern up a little. Instead of just predictable scale, I'm going. For you. You can do patterns where you start on different fingers, and this is really going to feel weird because if you've got a weak third and finky, this is where you want to start instead of just doing this all day long. You're going to want to go, that's a skip between 3 and 4, and then the next string, same fingering by the way, just 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, extend, switch to the 9th position, lastly 10th position. Sorry. See, that's the thing, is you forget these scales when you start slowing them down, where you're used to playing them fast like this. It's kind of mindless. You start dissecting them, it's like, what's going on? All right, so let's get back to our bouncy trick. So we started off with a warm-up that goes. Now we're going to reverse it, and so we're starting with the 3rd finger first. And you're going 3, 4, 1. Line that up in a row evenly, it's going to sound like this. Let's try this instead of going. How about this? So that's 3rd finger, 1st finger, then pinky. So 3, 1, 3, 4. Yeah, I like that one. This will separate you from being a good guitarist to a great guitarist to being the best guitarist. How to play better than anybody else. Have all those digits ready to do and be ready for any situation so you can get in and out without having to worry about a pedal or let me throw my guitar in the air and distract people. This is, you want to distract people with technique. So if I'm doing a scale, and you've heard that already, let me set an example here. So I'm going to play my jam track. Okay, you've heard that. You've heard it slow. You've heard it fast. Now let's change it up and do a different pattern. It totally throws the listener off. They think they're hearing a different pattern, a different scale. You're just recycling. Excuse me. It's still morning here into my musician hours. Whatever coffee you drink, and make sure it's a double. All right, so you're taking the same boring scale that you've been using all day, different songs, and now you're gonna flip the ear, the listener's ear, by changing the pattern. Feel that for a couple of passes like this. When I say feel, it is a feel. It's not something where you can get in there and pick fast. It's not something there where you can put your metronome on 300 and go look how fast I am. You have to really get that third and pinky to communicate like this. You get them working evenly. They're your tools instead of your hang-ups. You got a nice sound. Let's put our track on and see how that sounds. Back to beginning mode. Let me get that track going again and do the relative major that I was talking about earlier. So we have our C minor, and if you want to slow down and do like a private tutorial, I'm open for that. I plan to be going live on a regular basis, so just hit me back on the chat if you're looking for a certain subject. But right now we're kind of handling my style, which is to do a lot of really crazy legato technique. So the relative major scale that we're using, not C minor, but B flat. That's a little easier to do because you don't mess up as much because you don't have to change the fingering. It's just 1, 3, 4, extend, starting on the 7th fret, starting on the 6th fret. So let's review that. And then I go an octave up here, starting on the 8th string. I am using a little pick there because I'm not getting as much sustain in this area. This is not a very sustainy part of the guitar. It seems to drop off after the 12th fret. Also, the fret wrap positioning is a big deal too. If you use it down here, you get a little bit, but it's not very effective until you start using. I mean, I'm using the fret wrap. I'm totally choking the guitar off. No sustain at all. Okay. So let's play our track, and I'll put together these 3 exercises. This little bouncing technique where I'm starting my 3rd finger. Eventually it's going to propel your improv sound to be a little fresher, a little spicier, and as we say, more saxophone-like. Most fusion and jazz guitar players are looking for phrasing that's been used by sax players for years, and let's just face it, you're talking about 4 fingers that always move in the same direction. Up and down. Sax players have different ways of thinking. Wind instrument players are playing breath through a horn, and their fingering is totally different. So that's why they have this amazing phrasing, which allows them to go from octave really quick. And guitar players don't typically do that, especially if you're a guitar player playing acoustic, or you're playing in a situation where you have to be disciplined to play pop music. You can't be doing this type of improv. But I find that two things get you out of being classified as like a metal shred guitarist. One is working on your tone. We've got a nice dark tone here. We've muted all the highs in my sound here. And then second is legato technique is very analogous to people's ears. I actually play in very quiet places I have huge concerts, and then on the off days where I need to play another gig or two, I play in quiet places, literally like background music. It's almost new age, and this sound doesn't upset anybody. You come out raging with a really loud metal sound like that, kind of the Van Halen sound. It drives people nuts when they're trying to be quiet and enjoy a meal or enjoy a drink at the bar. That's too shreddy. I prefer a dark tone. More saxophone-like. All right, welcome to the channel. I'm Brett Sullivan. Today we're talking about legato warm-ups, and we're trying to keep it simple. We're trying to keep it locked around 2 or 3 different patterns around a C minor scale. So first scale is, I'm gonna slow that down. It's just starting on the 8th fret, 9th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret, 9, 8. All right. Next pattern we're going to do is starting in the 3rd finger, 4th finger, and then back to the 1st finger. Same pattern, but this changes up the sound totally. Major and minor. Now obviously you can complete that scale. But I'm just trying to keep you focused on the one true minor scale with some extra tips. All right, let's try another pattern. Excuse me. If you're just tuning in, it's morning to me over here. I mean, it's about 12 noon in South Florida here, but to me that's morning because I play every night. And by the time you get up, have your coffee, you warm up, it's afternoon, it's still morning to me. All right, guys. If you need any transcript of this particular exercise, I do have them all tabbed out. But I think if you're looking for a tab on a C minor scale, you're looking a little too hard. It's just something you can grab. You probably already know if you're a guitar player watching this channel. C minor scale is something you've been playing all your career. We're just trying to do some different techniques here to open up your legato. And I literally mean legato. I'm gonna put the right hand to rest. Got my fret wrap, and this is how legato it is. It's literally just left hand. I'm gonna do a different track. We're a different key now too. That's just how strong a left-hand legato can be if you develop it. So we're gonna end the video in about 5 minutes. If you have any questions or you have any tips for me that you thought that I didn't think of that I should be talking about, just shoot them my way in my chat. In fact, I'm on my live video right now, so if I can't see your comments, maybe I didn't activate my comments, you can just comment there. Let's do a couple more tricks here. This is more advanced. This is really gonna take, if you're new to legato, if this is something that you're just developing, it's gonna take a little bit of patience. It's actually a major, it's the relative major scale, and it allows you to jump up and down the scale. It sounds really freaky if you play it like this. It's a total Holdsworth thing. If you don't know who Holdsworth is, Google. Let's put that over a track so it makes sense. Remember, this is still C minor. And here's that scale. Tempo scale for the brave. What I'm doing here is I'm taking, instead of starting on C, I'm starting on E flat, starting with our second finger, and then we're jumping to the A string. This is the second finger, E flat on the E string. Get up here to the camera. First finger hammering on that A string, and then pinky ends up on the 13th fret. And that's just a, depending on how you use your fret wrap or how good you mute, how good your muting technique is, this can work or it can sound awful. So we're going to do a little muting on both. We're going to mute with the right hand, cut it off. I'm doing the same pattern on the next string. And then we're doing a pull off. Because if we leave it loose, you're going to get some dark overtones that are out of tune, depending on what key you're in. Let's try that slowly. And then we're ending up on a different finger here, so this is starting on the second finger. This ends on the third finger. That's really what you should be starting with. And then you can combine that with all the other patterns that we've done today. Sound there, you can go for a sharp fifth. Total Holdsworth. It sounds out of tune, but when you get your music going, it's not as bad. It's all about resolution. Really good musician, bass player that plays locally here, just said it's all about resolution, and he's just repeating what their teacher said. So if you got some crazy scale and you're going out of tune, so be it. Just resolve it and you're good. Which is simply hit the wrong note, move to another note. What can you do? Great story about Miles Davis. This is for only hardcore jazz fans. Who the heck is Miles Davis to a non-jazz fan? You wouldn't know, but Miles Davis hired young Herbie Hancock, and young Herbie Hancock was on the stage playing some beautiful ballad, and Herbie hit a wrong chord, awful chord, in front of a live jazz audience, instead of Miles glaring at him or giving him, you know, the warning you're fired because you hit a wrong note. Miles Davis just moved to a different note. So it's made it sound amazing. So that's all we're doing here is the story of resolution. You hit a wrong note, move to the next note. With all these crazy patterns, you should have no problem, like this. There's my right note, there's my wrong note. Right note, wrong note. Here's a wrong note. Wrong note, right note. And then combine that with your unique phrasing. That's why jazz is such an amazing form of music. So this is all from my fusion jazz studies, but you don't have to use it in a jazz fusion song. You can rock as hard as you want and use these techniques, and your rock and roll counterparts or brothers and sisters will be like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm just shredding. Let's take Satch Boogie. It's a real cool rock jam. All right, so you know Joe Satriani's Satch Boogie, we're gonna be in A. You can still do your own style of soloing over this using what we just talked about. And after this, I gotta wrap up the video and get back to the day's requirements. Just a little sneak preview of what you can do. That's just blues, that's just A pentatonic. And we're still using the same patterns. So good to have you on my channel, Brev Sullivan. I'm gonna leave this video up, so if you wanna play it back slowly and get some of my legato tips, and look forward to seeing you guys in a future broadcast. Have an awesome Friday.